Metropolitan Theater in Morgantown, West Virginia. Now we have a lightning round. These are going to be 30-second answers, and the first one is for Congressman Jenkins. After Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu laid out evidence of Iran's lying about the nuclear deal, if you had a decision as U.S. Senator, would you vote to end that deal, or do you think it's wiser to continue it?
I want to take a brief second. Playing Rocky Top for Tennessee and West Virginia. It's country roads here, folks, not Rocky Top.
Yeah.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
Duly noted.
You know, we're proud West Virginians. You know, we get put down so many times. People make fun of us. So that's what my candidacy, what my life has been about, standing up for who we are and what we believe. So sorry to jump in. It's about West Virginia. It's West Virginia pride.
Okay. Now, what about Iran?
You know what? The Iran nuclear deal was a disaster. The idea that we've got pallets of cash being shipped to Iran, Barack Obama made a disastrous deal. We've got a deadline coming up. Donald Trump should end the Iran deal.
So even though the head of the leadership in Iran has said that they would instantly restart their nuclear program if that deal were ended, you're okay with that?
You know, I respect the state of Israel. I have been with Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. I understand the forces of evil that are all around Jerusalem. The state of Israel is absolutely essential. We support them. We defend them. But the idea that Iran and their nuclear program, it was a terrible deal. It needs to be ended. We need to go back and negotiate a better deal that will protect the world.
Mr. Blankenship, President Trump has talked about getting U.S. troops out of Syria. He also, though, after meeting with the French President Macron, talked about possibly having them stay for some time. What's the right choice?
I don't think anybody up here knows what the right choice is, because you got to know a lot more than we know. But I don't agree with going around the world and putting ourselves in harm's way for when enemies are fighting one another. But back to the Department of Energy, there's 19,000 of them, or somebody told me it was. I never met one. I produce more energy than anybody in the history of this area. So it doesn't make any sense. So I'd be for cutting the Department of Energy to about 200 people and getting rid of about 18,800.
Attorney General Morrissey, #1 threat facing the U.S.
I think we have to go back and look. President Trump has very adroitly handled ISIS, and I think what's going on in the Middle East remains a powder keg. But North Korea, I still am very distrustful of what's going on between North Korea and South Korea. I commend the president, though, because his tough talk has actually gotten us to a place, perhaps, under this president, we're not going to have a repeat of the failure of Bill Clinton back in the 1990s and all the other administrations that were led astray when North Korea promised they weren't going to develop their nuclear program. President Trump deserves credit for that, but we have to watch it very, very closely.
I want to ask each of you to give me a 30-second answer on this if you can. The national debt is now over $21 trillion and growing. Fiscal conservatives say that the problem cannot be solved unless we begin to reform entitlements. Senator Manchin has said he will protect all entitlements. Would you accept any changes to Social Security, to Medicaid, to Medicare? Want to take it first, Mr. Blankenship?
Well, it's pretty simple. You have to. The Republican Study Committee has come up with something that looks very good to me at a distance. You know, the big thing that has to happen is we have to have fewer people on welfare. Some of you may remember Reagan's words that we shouldn't judge our success by how many people are on welfare, but how few people need it. And that's the real answer. And we're going to have to put people to work. What that Republican study says is that, you know, people should have to work even if they're on welfare, if they're able to work. They should be drug tested, of course. And those things will make a difference. It's not that hard. You know, it's just a matter of whether you've got the resolve to do it. It's apparent to me these two guys don't.
Congressman Jenkins, would you do that? Would you put people, are you going to institute a work requirement for Medicaid or for Social Security in West Virginia?
We've actually authorized at the federal level the ability for states to be incubators of innovation. The idea of imposing work requirements absolutely is a good idea. Let me talk to the West Virginia seniors. Medicare, Social Security, they should absolutely be protected. We should not privatize. We need to honor the promise for our seniors that we have made. But look, we just were able to cut the largest amount of taxes in U.S. history. We cut over $1 billion. I am a believer that a good job solves a lot of problems. You put more money in people's pockets, not the government's pockets. Get them back to work. We can grow the budget and take care of our seniors. It's a promise I won't walk away from.
Mr. Morsi, would you cut Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare?
Well, I think it's critical that we absolutely keep our promise to our seniors. Now, that has to be a top priority here in West Virginia. So many people relying on those benefits. But I will note, we can do a lot more as a country and a state to go after fraud, waste, and abuse. In my office alone, we created a disability fraud unit that saved $10 million in a little over 2 years. I think we can go after Medicaid fraud. There's literally tens of millions of dollars lying around. Same in Medicare. That's my background. I'll go after it. I won't be afraid of the D.C. establishment. We'll make the changes to protect people's benefits, but ultimately ensure that we rid out the waste, fraud, and abuse.
Each candidate will now make a brief closing statement. We're doing this in reverse order. We begin with Mr. Blankenship.
What I would say is I'm up here with two guys that's never created a job, and jobs in West Virginia are the most important thing. I'm up here with two guys that one of which oversees the worst district in the nation for drug abuse deaths, and the other one lobbies for and works with and has friends that work for the drug companies that cause that. I'm up here with guys that get money from Planned Parenthood or perhaps have voted for funding of Planned Parenthood, and yet I've given $200,000 to Right to Life to protect the unborn. So they're not going to fix that problem. And on human rights violations, whether it be the Second Amendment or any of the amendments, I'm more conscious of how fragile they are and how badly they need to be protected.
Mr. Morsi.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is one proven conservative fighter in this race. During the time when Barack Obama was wreaking havoc on our way of life, I stood up, I sued Barack Obama, we won, and we protected West Virginia jobs. When it comes to the important questions of the day, West Virginians for Life has stood strong with me because I'm the pro-life fighter, fought off the abortionist, who other people get to work with for long parts of their career. We can make a difference, and I'd ask you to think of one final thing. We need a proven conservative to take on Joe Manchin, who's not the same on all the issues. I'm the only credible conservative on this stage.
Mr. Jenkins.
Well, thank you so much, showcasing West Virginia. I'm a proud West Virginian, married a West Virginia girl, raised 3 children, and my oldest son is serving our country in the United States Marines. It's who we are. It's service. I proudly endorse Donald Trump, working with him each and every step of the way. Patrick was a never-Trumper. He's surrounded by never-Trumpers. We need somebody who will support our president, stand up for what we believe. I have a 100% voting record with the National Right to Life and a 100% voting record and an A+ rating with the NRA. Proud West Virginian. We're going to take out Joe Manchin this November. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. That concludes our debate tonight. Very interesting. The night is just beginning.
Indeed it is. I will be back next with more of the story. We thank all of you for being here tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Great evening. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.